This podcast is brought to you by Coke, Am First, Buffalo Wild Wings, Southern Immediate Care, Ann's Quilts, Guaranteed Labels, Central State Bank, and Sunrise Docks.
Hey, it's Bubba, hey, Bubba, Bubba on the lake. This is Bubba, hey, Bubba, Bubba on the lake. Yeah, he's got it going on. Gotta come and check this. Talking people, talking places from Bubba's perspective. This is Bubba, hey, Bubba on the lake. Hey, Bubba, yeah, Bubba on the lake. Let's go.
Bubba, I would like for you to interview Elon Musk, if possible, Bruce Pearl, and I would love for you to go back and tell the story of the tornado and your move from Birmingham to the lake and what all transpired. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, Bubba. I got a little procedure you might could do for that Achilles. You ever thought about a little toe pass?
Hey, Bubba, Tom over in Douglasville, Georgia. Love the show, love the podcast. I just got to figure out how to like and subscribe. I'll have to ask Patricia. But anyway, best of all to all you guys over there on the lake. And we love you always. All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Hey, Bubba. It's good to hear you on the radio again. Hey, we're all dying to know what happened at the ending of the Rick and Bubba show. Seems like things maybe weren't the best. I don't know. Just would like to hear your side of everything. Just sit back and listen to it. Thank you, sir.
Hello, Bubba. This is Pam. We're in Mississippi part-time and Tennessee part-time. My husband and I love your podcast. We enjoy hearing from your family. It's wonderful. We want those platinum seats at Bubba on the Lake. Let us know when they're going to be available. We love all that you're doing. Good luck and continue on.
Hi, Bubba. I was wondering if you could catch up with Helmsy. I know he's busy this time of year, but if you could catch up with him and have him on your show, I'd like to hear what's going on in his life. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Those are the sounds from the message line, 308 Big Lake. That is part of our new feedback system at BubbaOnTheLake.com. So you can dial up that number, 308 Big Lake, leave a message, and it too may make it to air. And some of those we will take on as topics to cover here on the show. Good evening to everybody. Hope you are doing well. Welcome to another edition of Bubba on the Lake. I am your semi-retired, mostly washed-up host, formerly of the Rick and Bubba Show, Bill Bubba Bussey. And we are so glad to have you along. I want to start this podcast real quick just by thanking everyone for your support. Been overwhelming. We have been blown away by it. And we just thank you. The comments, the number of people who are downloading and subscribing has been outstanding, far more than we ever thought. We still are not getting as many people subscribing who are actually listening to the podcast, which, again, that will help. And I know I've done the same thing. It's usually not a priority, but it really does matter when you start trying to get the algorithms for placing your podcast on list for people to listen to and all that stuff. It's all part of the great new world order that is the internet. So important to subscribe. I would appreciate it if you would do that. We always want you to like it, and always check out our social media. Bubba on the Lake. We have Facebook. We have X. We have Instagram. I have personal sites too. So there's always a lot of content out there. Now, we have a very, very special podcast today, and I think you're going to enjoy it. We finally ran down Rob Sudreth, who is the winner of our bracket challenge. We're going to talk to him for just a minute. Coach Chris Herren will be on the show. Coach Herren has had me on his morning show several times. We've had a lot of fun. Finally met him the other night, and I'm going to be on their show again next week. So we had a little fun recapping some of that, and he is a very, very funny guy. And, one of the things about doing, and I commented on this, one of the things about doing a morning show for 3 decades, I didn't get to listen to a lot of the morning shows. And when we got done, you were kind of done with all that and didn't want to go back and listen to stuff. But they do a very good job and very entertaining. And I have really enjoyed getting to know those guys. Also on this podcast, for those of you screaming, where is the lovely Betty Lou? She is back and with a vengeance. We have a new segment called On the Back Porch with Betty. And we basically set a recorder up and we just talked. And it's enlightening, and it will hopefully be an entertaining podcast that you won't have to fast forward through. So we have a lot to cover. We want to get started. We're also working a couple of podcasts ahead. Got some really good guests coming up, some interesting conversations. And we're going to hopefully kind of pick the pace up here as warm weather gets here. And it's time to, frankly, to clean the boat and get out on the water. And that's what I'm probably the most excited about, being able to do that. So love the weather warming up. It's a wonderful time of year. I think it just puts everybody in a better mood. I'm part plant, so I have to have sunlight. I don't know what this is. I remember very clearly as a young kid when it had been cloudy several days going, I'm in a terrible mood. I need some sunlight. So I've always joked that I'm part plant. And there's something to that, especially with vitamin D and some other things. And, if you're a little overweight, vitamin D can be a problem for you. So keep an eye on that. So I need the sunlight, and we're getting that right now, and I sure am enjoying it. Again, thank you all for being part of Bubba on the Lake. We have a lot to do. We're going to hit this Profit Center, and we will be right back in just a moment. Thank you for being with us.
It's Bubba on the Lake. Bubba on the Lake.
You know one thing I love about Buffalo Wild Wings? You can get wings with any of their 26 sauces and dry rubs for takeout and delivery. That's like bringing an entire B-dubs home with you, which you can't do. I tried. I've knocked down so many walls, only to then be told to halt construction because I'm not zoned to be a sports bar. Kinda just looks like a big pergola or something because of the lack of walls. At least these 26 sauces and dry rubs are available to go. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
This is Coke Zero Sugar. Could I be the best Coke ever? Try and taste with your ears. Hear those bubbles? Imagine them tingling on your tongue. Fizzy deliciousness. Listen to that cascading liquid. A mouth-watering waterfall. Irresistibly tasty. Zero sugar. Crisp, refreshing, and ice cold. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Try and decide.
Where's Bubba?
I'll tell you where. He's on the lake.
Well, we were able to finally track him down. Rob Sudrith, who was the winner of the Bubba on the Lake Bracket Challenge. Rob, congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's awesome. It's really an honor to be the first one to go in your Hall of Fame. That's pretty awesome.
Well, you won some merchandise, and you are the first member ever in Bubba's Contest Hall of Fame. And as long as the website stays up, that'll be up. I hope it stays there for a long, long time. And, man, we appreciate you being in this. But to win this out of almost 800 people, you must really know your basketball.
I do keep up with it. I'm a big Carolina fan, and that's really big in where I'm from. So I do keep up with it quite a bit.
So what was your percentage? Did you miss any games?
I really don't know because I was actually having trouble logging into my ESPN account. I only saw it a couple times. I knew I had a good bracket. I knew I had the Final Four good, but I really don't know because I was having trouble getting in. So, I mean, I thought I had a shot, but it's hard. I didn't know where everybody else was around me.
Well, I was looking at some of the information back when it happened, and I want to say the tiebreaker was you picking the score, and I think you had the score exactly right of the final game.
Oh, yeah. I know your son had talked to me, and he said, like, if Houston would have won, like somebody was going, that was the only chance somebody had to get me. But I felt good about the score. I thought that was how it was going to go. I know they both played good defense, so I felt good about that.
Well, so did you do other brackets too? Did you do a lot of competition in this? I mean, most people do just tons of them usually.
I do. Yeah, I always do some with my friends. I'm pretty big into that. Like I do like the fantasy football and things. I've won a couple of those on ESPN with my friends and things. But I think I did like 5 brackets. I do like Yahoo, ESPN, and they all do some brackets. And I just do some with my friends locally. So
now, Rob, what do you do? Can you share it with us?
I work in healthcare. I'm healthcare.
And where are you from?
I'm from Hickory, North Carolina. It's about 40 minutes from Charlotte. Most people know Charlotte, North Carolina.
Now, wait a minute. You're not talking about Hickory, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Where John is from, the comedian?
Oh, yeah, John Reap. Yeah. That thing got a Hemi in it? Yeah. That's him.
John Reap is one of my favorite comedians. We've had him on the old show many, many times. And you're the only second person I've ever met from Hickory.
That's it. You got it, yeah. Yeah, he does a lot of shows around here. He went to the high school. Fred T. Ford is the high school he went to. That's where my mother went. And I see him a lot around. His parents still live in my area, so he's still around a lot when he's not doing work.
Well, I tell you what, Rob, I was impressed with your level of knowledge in this, and you knocked it out of the park, and congratulations on being the winner, man.
Thanks a lot. That's great. That's awesome. I couldn't believe it when I seen that you posted and my name was on. I was like, man, I can't believe I won.
Well, it was crazy because we ended up going to the Final Four kind of last minute, and it was that makes for some awkward travel and awkward hotels, but I'll tell you, San Antonio did a great job. They put on a great show, and I don't know, have you ever been to the Final Four?
No, I haven't. I would like to. No, I haven't been.
Being a sports guy,
I like
you
San
would love
Antonio,
it.
though. I'm sure they put on a good. I bet it was good there. That's a nice city.
It is, and I think next year is probably going to be a pretty good one too in Indianapolis because that's the home of the NCAA. So, they'll have it right there under their light. So it'll probably be a pretty good presentation.
Yeah, it should be. I think it was in Atlanta when I was younger, and I almost went to Atlanta, but I didn't make it. So that was probably the closest that I ever had to go into it. But, Carolina's been several times, and I wanted to go, but it just hadn't worked out so far, and they're struggling now. So it might be a while for them to get back.
So, that's a great question because they have such a tradition there. Are they just kind of caught in the middle of this NIL transfer portal thing, or what do you think's happening there?
Yeah, well, Roy Williams, he's actually from my area too. Roy, he grew up close to me, and that's the reason he left. That's the reason he got out of basketball because he said this is not for me. And Hubert Davis was a coach under him, and I think that was how Hubert felt at first. And you just got to change. I mean, the rosters change from year to year now. You just you can't recruit a player and think they're going to stay with you for 4 years.
No, it's really like travel ball. You just you cast your net. You get the best players you can for that year. You hope they gel together by the mid-season. And we got people who are starting at. I know we had the center at one of the schools. I can't remember which one it was now, but he was the starting center and a very good season, and he just decided to transfer.
Well, that's how that kid we're getting from, I think he's from Arizona. They had a good run in the tournament, and he was their starting center, and he's coming to Carolina next year. So, you just never know. I don't know if he wasn't clicking or something, but, he had an awesome year, and, now he's going to wind up in Carolina. But as far as Hubert Davis, I just feel like he's not a good in-game coach. Like, his coaches, I think, are good recruiters, and they get the players, but it just seems like when Carolina comes out, if they're cold, they just can't make adjustments. And, if the other team changes on them, they just can't adapt to it. It's just, he seems like he struggles in game. And so, everybody's saying that they're going to make a change, so we'll see.
Well, I have no doubt that North Carolina will be back.
I hope so.
This is a minor glitch in their long history, I assure you.
Rob, so. It's hard seeing Duke make a good run because in Carolina, you're either Duke or Carolina.
Right,
There's no in between, and it kills me to see Duke do good. But that Cooper kid, he's awesome.
Was it painful to put Duke all the way to the Final Four?
Oh yeah.
Now, how did you know that Houston was going to beat them? Tell me about that pick. I got to know.
Their defense. their defense is awesome. And I just looked at some stats, and they're in a good conference. You know, a lot of people don't give them credit for the conference they play in, but they play some good teams. And I was just really impressed with their defense. And, you know, just all year long, they've been shutting everybody down, and I just felt confident with that.
You know, I grew up when Phi Slamma Jamma was playing and enjoyed watching that. I just think college basketball is better when Houston is good and when North Carolina is good, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen some of the old players there from Houston during that time. I've seen them there at the game. Yeah, oh, yeah. It's a lot better. I mean, yeah, it's not the same, you know, when Carolina had Michael Jordan and James Worthy and Perkins, all them, you know, it's a different game now.
Oh, it is. Well, Rob, thank you so much for participating. Thank you for listening to the podcast. And I hope we get to induct you into Bubba's Contest Hall of Fame again sometime.
Nice. I hope so. I'll definitely be in it if you do something else. It was awesome talking to you today.
Yeah, man, and send us a picture of you wearing the merchandise. That'd be great.
I will. When I get some, I'll send you some pictures.
All right, Rob, be careful. Thank you, man.
Yeah, have a great evening.
You too. That is Rob Sudreth, who is the winner of the Bubba on the Lake Bracket Challenge and now proudly inducted as the first member ever in Bubba's Contest Hall of Fame. Hopefully there will be many, many more. Thank all of you. We had, like I said, almost 800 people participate, and that was kind of a last-minute thing. We'll try to do some more of those. Seemed like everybody really enjoyed it, and maybe we can get some more commentary as things are going on. But thank you so much, Rob, for being part of this and being the winner, and we will be back with Bubba on the Lake in just a minute.
You're listening to Bubba. Whoa. Bubba on the Lake.
At Central State Bank, we believe community banking is more than just transactions. It's about relationships. For over 100 years, we've been helping neighbors grow, businesses thrive, and dreams become reality. Because when you bank local, you invest in your community. Central State Bank, large enough to serve you, small enough to know you. Visit us today or learn more at centralstatebank.com. Member FDIC.
Attention business owners, print buyers, and production managers. Guaranteed Labels is here to help you focus less on your printing, labels, and decals, and more on growing your business. Guaranteed Labels, your dependable printer for all types of industries. Quality, on-time shipments, and stock programs set us apart. If you're needing to focus less on your printing and more on your business, trust Guaranteed Labels. 800-741-7055 or GuaranteedLabels.com. Guaranteed Labels, still sticking since 1988.
It's Bubba on the Lake. Bubba on the Lake.
All right, we are back, and we have a new segment we want to try out called Sitting on the Back Porch with Betty. Betty, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, I'm good. A lot of people wanted to know, how did your bracket turn out?
I have no earthly idea. I know that I probably didn't choose right because Auburn did not win. Florida won it all, which is great for the Gators. You know, chop, chop, go Gators.
Go Gators.
Yes,
go Gators. That's
think,
from a movie, by the way.
Yes. I don't think that my, whatever you just called it, bracket did that great, though.
Well,
my chart.
I noticed one thing. We decided to go to the Final Four kind of at the last minute, which makes travel difficult. You said you didn't want to go.
No,
and then as we were packing about to leave, then you decided you wanted to go when it was too late.
Okay, that is not correct.
Pretty close.
I heard you making reservations, and it was for you and Hunter. So I said, okay, great. Guys trip, father-son trip, great. Then Caitlin, our spirited child, raised her head and said, I went to Auburn. I should be the one going. So you got a third ticket, and so I said, fine, I'll take one for the team. Y'all go again. Because for the record, the last Final Four was in, 20...
The one that Auburn was in?
19,
it was
yes.
2019.
2019. I was hosting a bridal shower at our home at that date, so I was not able to go then either. And so I thought, well, whatever. Apparently, it's not in the cards for me to ever go to a Final Four basketball game. But maybe next time. Come on, Auburn, Bruce Pearl, get it together. If y'all go next year, I'm going.
It's kind of funny too. We're in the Mellow Yellow studio, which is on our back porch, and the sun is going down. Is this not a beautiful view or what?
Pretty. Yeah, I wish we're gonna get cameras together somehow. In the near future. Y'all got to see this. It's incredible.
Well, a lot of people want us to do video, and I would like to do video, but we gotta ramp up to that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can hold a cell phone and tape it and stuff like that.
Well,
I am not a camera person.
I know.
I'm not camera trained.
I know,
what I mean?
and people say that, but once you start, they're going to want it to be good. They're not going to be happy with kind of hit and miss video. I know people. I know how they'll be. And there'll be a lot of pressure to do it bigger and bigger and bigger, and we don't have the budget to do that right now.
And budget is a 4-letter word here, so we won't talk about that anymore.
See, I'm actually tied to a budget. See, there are limitations sometimes. But what a beautiful sunset. I'd just rather focus on it than budgets.
Me too.
Isn't that beautiful?
Really is.
Tell everybody what you see, Betty.
It's like a God's tapestry of, it's almost like the Auburn orange and blue. I hate to say it, but it really is. And got a little bit of pink in there, but mostly a faint orange and blue, peachy. It's pretty.
Well, it's getting that time of year to get out on the water, and I hope we can get out and do some interviews on the pontoon boat and do some fun things that people will enjoy listening to.
Well, I hope so too. Of course, I don't know if you want me doing the camera work or not, but anyway.
Well, you're back to that camera work again. Driving the boat's really a big issue with that.
Well,
you got to have somebody that drives the boat.
You will be the one driving the boat, because I mean, I can drive the boat. I just cannot dock the boat. I've never tried to dock the boat, but you act like you don't want me to learn to dock the boat. So
no, I would actually like for you to learn to dock the boat. I just don't know that we can survive practicing docking the boat.
I think I would need to go to a class and learn under somebody else is the problem.
Do you smell something good? Is somebody cooking out close by? Because something smells good out here.
I don't know. But
I smell hamburgers or something. We have not
had dinner, and anything and everything smells good to me right now. Yeah.
I'm serious. Somebody's cooking out. We need to figure out who that is. And then whatever neighbor's cooking out, let's just call them and ask them what they're doing, and maybe they'll invite us over. That's lake life, isn't it?
I doubt it. But anyway, lake life is also that a lot of people around us are not here on the weekends, but anyway, or they've already gone back to their home or whatever.
That's why it's so peaceful on Sunday night.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, we're trying out too our handheld recorder to see how that's going to sound. So if this segment sounds a little different, that's what it is.
Because it looks like a makeup brush, ladies, the little fuzzy thing on the end
of
it. I was all excited about it because I thought, well, that looks just like one of my makeup brushes. So.
Well, it's a cross between Don King's hair and a squirrel's butt.
Well, and
just
a makeup
to give
brush.
you a visual.
But anyway, that ruined the makeup brushes for me. Go
well,
ahead.
it's a windscreen. It keeps the wind from whistling through the microphone. But it is considering the size of it and the size of the recorder, it looks like a big furry thing is eating a piece of equipment, doesn't it?
It's a little bitty. Yeah, it's very little.
Again, the recorder?
The recorder is,
yeah. We've got it on a tripod on the table, so
right.
We'll see how this sounds. This may never make it to air, let's be clear. And because I didn't want to set all the equipment up out here just for one interview, and it's getting late as the sun goes down. It's still a little cool when the sun goes down, isn't it?
It is. I've got my UGG house shoes on, so I'm ready to go out here, but,
Well, I'll tell you this.
It's a little bit cooler than,
the sunset is beautiful, but it does not hold a candle to you, my dear.
Oh, my gosh. Now we're in deep, folks. This must be going on there. Oh, he's about to ask something big. They're going back to some Final Four venue or something, and I'm not going. Again.
Well, we missed going to the Final Four. Jack State's bowling team was in the Final Four in Las Vegas. And you've never been to Las Vegas, and I wanted you to go see it.
And if we had planned a little better, I would have been there. I even probably could have figured out dog sitting,
Well, it was kind of tough coming on the heels of just getting back from San Antonio.
Oh, yeah, that was rough, y'all. Yep.
Well,
I was just getting back and unpacking. Didn't go.
Well, the Atlanta airport, it's always a lot of fun.
Yes.
And we haven't really figured out our deal yet, living here where we live now at Lake Martin. Atlanta is 2 hours away, 2 hours and some change. Birmingham is an hour and a half to the airport. So Birmingham's a little closer, but and it's a lot less hassle than Atlanta. But every time you get on a plane in Birmingham, you have to go to Atlanta. So that adds another charge to the trip. It delays, all of that. So far, the last few flights we've had to take, we just drove all the way to Atlanta and hopped on there. And we did figure out a better way to do it this time than last time me and you did it.
Did you now?
Well,
Okay.
we stopped at a park and ride.
Oh, yeah.
And
right.
that made it a whole lot easier than us parking at the airport and with all the construction going on, we didn't know where in the devil we were or where to go.
Right.
We rolled suitcases, I feel like 6 miles looking for a security line to check in.
And then had to look for a clear or whatever where they scan your eyeball.
Yeah.
Try to get you in there.
Well, we
gosh.
signed up for Clear a few years ago. You did. You and Caitlin did to
and
start
it worked.
with.
I mean, we almost missed a flight to D.C., and that worked like a top several times. But
Well,
then,
it seems to me in Atlanta, the Clear line moves slower than the regular security.
It did, and I don't know why, though. I
Well,
don't know what's going on.
It was
that.
goofballs like us that their account wasn't current, and they were trying to get everybody.
We don't fly that much
all
is
that.
what it was. Yeah. So anyway, it's not like I'm some jet setter.
No, we jet set like once every 3 or 4 years. So by the time we go again, they've completely redone the airport. Nothing looks the same.
Right. So, oh well. Traveling's fun when it happens, y'all.
Well, as I mentioned, the lovely Betty Lou is looking a special lovely tonight. And the sun is beginning to set, so we're going to hold hands and go inside and watch TV.
Oh, yeah, and probably eat skinny popcorn, because that's about all there is in there.
Hey, by the way, we haven't had dinner. We got to
I know.
find something
I offered
to eat.
you a turkey sandwich about an hour ago,
Did you
and you
really?
said no. You said you weren't ready, so it's off the table now.
Well, I'm ready now. I am definitely. I tell you, whoever's cooking hamburgers right here got me hungry.
Okay.
That smelled good.
Y'all, I don't smell a hamburger. I don't know. It must be
The hamburger.
the hamburger.
That's another story.
That's another story, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us with our new segment, Sitting on the Porch with Betty.
Where's Bubba?
I'll tell you where. He's on the lake.
The perfect checking account does not exist. At least not at a bank. At AmFirst, you can get no minimum balance or monthly fees, an instant issue debit card, and free checks with unlimited check writing. But who doesn't want more? Like a rewards program you'll actually use, and convenient digital tools that make it easy to manage your account from anywhere. That's what you'll find at AmFirst. Only available for qualifying members. AmFirst is federally insured by the NCUA.
When you need urgent care, Southern Immediate Care is here for you. Illness doesn't follow a 9-to-5 schedule, so we offer support 7 days a week at convenient locations throughout Birmingham and Northeast Alabama, dedicated to serving all ages from children to adults. Southern Immediate Care offers occupational medicine services, including DOT physicals and testing. At Southern Immediate Care, your health is our top priority. Visit southernimmediatecare.com or call 205-409-2794.
It's Bubba on the Lake. Bubba on the Lake.
On the line with us now, we have someone who I have got to know a lot better here in the past few months, Coach Chris Herren. Coach, how are you doing?
Doing well, Bubba. Doing well this evening.
Well, Coach Chris hosts a morning show on WFAZ 90.9 FM in Ashland, Alabama, and I've had the honor of being a guest on there several times. So, Coach, I wanted to get you on my podcast.
Well, I appreciate that. It's we've been very honored to have you with us a few mornings and enjoyed the relationship we began to build, and And it's been enjoyable for us, and proud to be with you now.
Well, you guys do a great job, and sadly, over the past 31 years, I haven't got to listen to a lot of morning shows, so I really didn't know what was out there. But I have really enjoyed listening to you and Rusty and Coach Weems and everybody else that piles in there. You guys have a great time. Chris, we were just talking about the Masters because as we're recording this, it just wrapped up a few minutes ago, and I didn't know, I'm a DeChambeau guy. And that, that's fighting words to a lot of golf purists, but you said you're a DeChambeau guy too.
Well, now I have to be honest with you, but I was today. My allegiance kind of varies because part of the thing on our morning show is every week we'll just pick us a golfer or two, and whoever wins gets bragging rights for that week. And I had DeChambeau this week, and that was kind of where my allegiance was lying today, headed into today, and it just didn't go our way, man.
Well, he is, he's kind of a mad scientist type, and I know he rubs some of the golf purists a little bit the wrong way, which that's fine with me. That's another reason I like him, because, there's so much pomp and circumstance with it, and he just kind of has gone out there and put everybody on their ear a little bit.
Well, he kind of does it his way, and I hear a lot. Of course, I do keep up with it, being a sports guy and liking all the different sports, and I kind of the same way, Bubba. His pace of play gets under people's skin, and some of the and the way he approaches things, and he's a great golfer, and he just today didn't catch some of the breaks. He had a great start, but things didn't go his way, and we got a new Masters champion, a guy that made it a career Grand Slam with a win today.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. We haven't had anybody do that in like 25 years. I think Tiger Woods was the last one to do it back in 2000. So, that's a pretty small group of people. There's only 7 or 8 people ever that have accomplished that.
Right, and that and it was. I found it interesting. He had to go into the playoff to do that, into that sudden death, and you had Rose, who the last time there was a playoff at the Masters was involved in that with Garcia back in 2017.
He's just a steady player. He's always around the top, isn't he?
Right, he is. So you've always got those same names up there around the top, and it's just but the pressure, man, Bubba, I can't imagine sitting here watching that today. I mean, we had some pressure back in the day in the old Clay Bowl, the Ashland Lima football games back years ago. But so we've been around some of that pressure, but that the pressure we were under, it was kind of personal pressure. It wasn't nothing without those millions of dollars on the line like that.
Well, the closest thing I've ever had to that is playing in the regions. And in some of the groups I've been in, there's been a big group where you tee off. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you, it's, Chris, it's different. It's a little nerve-wracking. It gets to you. Matter of fact, Michael Jordan played in this.
Oh, wow.
And he was not, I didn't play the year he played, but he said that he was more nervous teeing off at hole number 1 at the regions than trying to sink a foul shot to win Game 7 in the NBA championship. He said it was worse.
I can't imagine, like on that 18 today, and the narratives off of that 18th tee down through there. I mean, that is such a small window that they've got to hit, and then to have to play that thing in a sudden death. I mean, that is just, it's amazing what those guys are able to do and how they can control that little white ball.
So do you play much?
Not very much at all. No, I'm not a big golfer. I'll hit it around a little bit with some guys, and we've actually, and we're talking about this, and I actually, Bubba, you're going to be an invitation this year. Sometime over in the 1st of June, we'll have our Coach and Friends morning show golf invitational, and you'll be getting an invitation to that.
Well, I hope so. I don't play much. I used to play a lot more, and various knee and foot injuries. And matter of fact, I've got an Achilles issue I'm dealing with right now. But if you got a hurt Achilles, you can't swing a golf club.
Oh no, that'd be rough. That'd be tough. And I know at one time, I don't play a lot, but I had a little either like plantar fasciitis and that kind of stuff. Them feet and ankle problems, it's tough to swing a golf club.
Coach, we're talking to Coach Chris Herren from WFAZ. He does the morning show there. And Chris, you're a celebrity in Clay County. Everybody knows you, and they've known you for many, many years. Tell us a little bit about the morning show. How long you've been doing that, and give us a little insight on that.
Well, Bubba, after retiring in 2018, spring of 2018, getting out of coaching after being in that for 28 years, stepped away from that, and I had a couple of guys that I taught in school years ago had actually got involved and owners of a small local radio station here. They came to me and just said, Coach, would you come be on the morning with us on the radio in the mornings? And I said, well, guys, I don't know anything about radio. And they said, well, you're a good talker. We want you to just talk. And I said, well, I can do that. So I got started in that in August of 2019, and started into that and rode that with those guys a while for a few years, and then there were some ownership changes in that station, and we were off the air. Went off the air for a while, and then Radio Alabama, Mr. Lee Perryman, they came into ownership of it, and Mr. Perryman and I began some conversation, and he was interested in maybe coming back and some of the things we had done before. And again, we made it real plain to him. Me, Rusty Taylor, Coach Wayne, Coach Jerry Wayne, a lot of the guys involved in ours, David Nolan. We were just old coaches, retired guys, and not really knowing a lot about radio, but we like to talk, and that's something we could do in the mornings. And we and he was interested in us, and we were interested and glad to have an opportunity to be back doing it, and kind of jump back in there this past August, and we're going at it again.
Well, you guys have fun, and like I had told you, being on the air for 30 years, I didn't get to listen to a lot of morning shows. So now that I've got a little time on my hands, I've got to listen to some, and you guys really do a great job. You're a lot of fun. You cut up. You do the kind of radio I enjoy. And we had a lot of fun talking about your church because you guys kind of have a unique outreach.
Well, we do. We have every Wednesday night, before Wednesday night prayer meeting services, we have the church provides a meal, and it's just open to anybody in the community, and it's not a paid thing. Now they've got, of course, it's a Baptist church. There's a donation box sitting there. If you feel like the Lord lays on your heart, you want to make a donation for the meal.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's not something that's required, and so and it's just there's a lady and her husband. They're kind of in charge of the meals and every week, and it's always exciting every week to see what that meal's going to be. And a few weeks ago, we had a potato bar, Bubba, at church. A
potato bar.
A baked potato bar. Yes. And we got there, and we had the potatoes, and they were wrapped in foil, and they were coming right out of the oven, from the oven into some coolers, and then out onto the serving table. And they were coming out of there and just, hot. They were hot right there. And all the toppings and everything to go with it. And it was, it's some work to get a baked potato ready.
Chris, you go to a mega church then, huh?
Well, no, it's not a mega church. It's a little country church. We'll run on Sunday mornings. A good crowd for us on Sunday mornings in worship service. There during the preaching time is, 75 to 80, 90 folks. And so we'll bump up around 100 sometimes, but it's just a place that a small church that everybody loves everybody, and kind of outside of Ashland and Lineville, kind of out in even a little more rural area than most of Clay County is. And but it was an experience. That never been ate a lot of meals on the ground at church, but never a potato bar. That kind of experience at church like that.
Well, if I picked up one of those in the fall and they were too hot, it would be dinner on the ground.
Well, it would be on the ground, and it can kind of remind you of some of our brothers and sisters up in places up on Sand Mountain where they'll handle them snakes sometimes. And taking them things around it, and it kind of looked like that. Some of them potatoes, the way some folks was handling them.
Yeah, I've got a hold of a hot one once or twice, and it looked like the Spirit had a hold of me.
Yeah, exactly.
I was letting that thing go, and then you talking about uppity though. We were lucky to have a hot dog. We used to have hot dogs and pizza, so you guys have moved way up. But for an outreach, I see that being real big, and we covered that before. Wednesday night visitation. You get to pull a wagon with a cooler in it, don't you?
Well, we've talked about that in some of our conversation before, and I shared with them, that through some conversation I'd had, that could be a potential outreach, and load those things up in a cooler, one of those roll around coolers, and carry that on our outreach and visitation program, and knock on a door and offer them have a cooler where you get, if you walk up to a house with a cooler here in Clay County, those places, they don't open the door before they even knock if they see you coming up there with a cooler.
Yeah, you'll get welcomed right in, and then you get to be known as the church that has the potato bar, and
that's it.
That's good marketing. I mean, people will remember that.
That's right.
And
that's
you could even
right.
do, we had talked before and laughed a little bit about it. You'd have to get a wagon because it's hard to strap one of those to a bicycle.
You're right. You're exactly right. Yes. And we had, and the following week, after the potato bar and some conversation that we had, the next week we got there and our dessert, we talked about the outreach program with the cooler and the potatoes, and we had pina colada cake, punch bowl cake.
Well,
so if we could somehow mix that pina colada punch bowl cake in with that cooler and the potatoes on visitation, I mean, there's no telling what we could do.
Well, I hope they cooked it good and got the alcohol out of it.
Oh yeah, you got to boil it down. I mean, you got to boil it down.
Oh, we're talking to Coach Chris Herren from WFAZ, part of Radio Alabama, and you guys do such a great job. And Chris, I've enjoyed being on with you guys. I'm gonna try to make it over next week and actually drop by. Got to meet you the other night at the Auburn-Jack State game, and wow, that ended up being quite a game, didn't it?
Oh, it did. What a game that was! It was great to finally meet you in person, and we had a good time, and appreciate your hospitality there. And what a game! Wow, that thing. Auburn kind of jumped out about the fifth inning, they're 3-0, and then Jack State battles back, and that thing goes tied into the 8th to the 9th inning, and Auburn solo home run, a solo shot there in the top of the 9th to win it 4-3. But man, what a great night at JSU, and if I understood right from some things I've heard since then, the third largest crowd baseball at that stadium ever.
Yeah, it was third or fourth. And it was a great crowd. They saw a great game. I mean, the Auburn pitcher had a no-hitter going to the 7th inning. And you may remember Jack State got an infield hit on a high chopper. And then they had then they had an error over at shortstop and got a hit or two, picked up some runs. So it was it was a defensive battle, and then it got offensive. And then it looked like we were in for a long night, and a solo homer in the 9th inning wins it for the Auburn Tigers. And, Jack State doesn't want, they want to win the game. They're not into these, moral victories, but to play the number 8 team in the country to the 9th inning is, I think, a good sign for them where they're at.
Oh, I think it's impressive. It's, what they've got going on, and I know they're on the road as we're speaking here. I think they're on the road headed to New Mexico for a series this weekend. And, so they had finished that up and then hitting the airways, headed out west, back into conference play for the weekend. And they're in a solid position headed into the back half of their conference schedule, I think.
And then Auburn is playing Texas, who's ranked number 1 in the country. So they both have big weekends coming up.
They sure do. After that midweek battle, it was a great game and great experience there on the campus at Jacksonville State. Both of them headed into big conference series this weekend. So
it was great for you to come up. I'm glad you came up, and it was good to meet you. And we're proud of the Gamecocks and Jacksonville, the way everything is growing there. And I think that was another step forward the other night for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And just if you don't get, and I don't get up there as much as I would like to, but when you're kind of there sporadically, boy, that is a growing campus. I mean, there is something building and new buildings and additions going on all the time. I mean, it is a very good school, athletically, academically, just a lot of good things happening there on the campus at Jacksonville State.
And what a beautiful view from the baseball field with the mountains, and you had the 12-story library up against the the base of the mountains. I always think that is just a beautiful view, especially as the sun goes down and the mountains all lit up and everything. It's just, I like to just sit there and look at it sometimes.
Yeah, the view in front of you and the smells that come from the concession stand behind you. I mean, it doesn't get much better than sitting right there.
It doesn't. And Charles Fuller was there. Not Charles Fuller. He was old friend. Coach Charles Kelly came in, and he sit in and did some of the baseball broadcast for us, the new football coach. And, of course, we have our spring game on Thursday night. So there's a lot going on in the athletic department. A lot of moving, a lot of happening.
A lot of stuff. Things are happening. That's what we like to say around our morning show. Things are happening.
So we're going to come see you hopefully next Wednesday. And is there any particular place I need to park?
No, sir. Right in the front door.
Right in the front.
Right in the front. You just pull up. We're right there on the east side of the square, and we're right between the Mexican restaurant and the coming soon Mexican restaurant on the other side of it. We sit right between two of them.
That's a great combination. I bet I know where you're going for lunch.
Yeah, and we're fixing to have a choice. I mean, right now there's not much of a choice, but we're fixing to just be able to flip a coin, go right or left when we go out the door.
Will the food be similar, you think?
I'm gonna say I would think it'd be very similar. I would think. You know, a lot of times I've discovered, and this is just my opinion, with that type of food, and I love it. I mean, I am a Mexican food guy. But, you know, sometimes I think, Bubba, it's just the presentation's really all that's different.
Yeah. I think the same truck unloads at all of them.
Yeah.
But, hey, it doesn't stop me, though, Chris. You know, it doesn't bother me.
No. I'll tell you this, Bubba. The only thing that I'm not going to eat, there's one food that I do not eat.
What's that?
I'm not a boiled okra guy.
Well, you know, I'm not per se. Have you ever had grilled okra?
I've had it grilled, pickled. I can do any of that, but that boiled pot of okra, Bubba, I can't do it.
A little slimy, isn't it?
It's just, and I think, you know, and I love it fried. I mean, any way you can do it, but boiled. And I'm afraid it's the feel more than anything. Other than the taste, it's just the feel of it. I can't get past it.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I got foods that way too. Well, Chris, good to talk to you, brother, and we'll see you next week. Enjoyed it. Thank you for being on the podcast, and we'll have you on again sometime.
Yes, sir. Thank you much. Appreciate it, Bubba. Thank you, sir.
You're a fine gentleman, and we appreciate it. Coach Chris Herren from WFAZ Radio Alabama, and we'll be back in just a moment.
1, 2, 3, 4. We'll be right back.
Looking for that beautiful quilt or other fabulous gifts? Check out Ann's Quilt and Country Store in Rogersville. Come see Miss Kim for all your quilting needs. She does custom quilts, memory and t-shirt quilts, and will also quilt your quilt top. There are gifts for women, babies, and even knives for the menfolk. Visit Miss Kim at Ann's Quilts, 1614 Lee Street in historic downtown Rogersville, Alabama. Call 256-483-2276 or search the store on Facebook and Google.
This is Coke Zero Sugar. Could I be the best Coke ever? Try and taste with your ears. Hear those bubbles? Imagine them tingling on your tongue. Fizzy deliciousness. Listen to that cascading liquid. A mouth-watering waterfall. Irresistibly tasty. Zero sugar. Crisp, refreshing, and ice cold. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Try and decide.
You're listening to Bubba on the Lake.
Hit me bad.
A production of Intergalactic Pants and Tees.
All rights reserved.
Well, that is about going to do it for this edition of Bubba on the Lake. We're broadcasting from the Mela Yella studio. And, of course, we want to remind you about our website, BubbaOnTheLake.com, and our message line, 308-BIG-LAKE. That's 308-244-5253, or better and easier to remember as 308-BIG-LAKE. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss anything from the show. Also, follow us on Instagram at Bubba on the Lake and all of our other social media outlets. We thank you again for being part of the podcast. I want to thank my guest, Rob Sudreth, who is the winner of the Rick and Bubba Bracket Challenge, Betty, and her segment, Betty on the Back Porch. We'll see how that goes. We had a lot of fun doing that. And, of course, Chris Herren from WFAZ Radio, Alabama. And just a pleasure to have all those folks on the program. We've got a show coming up in the very near future that's going to have Congressman Jerry Carl on it, who came by for a sit-down, and we caught up on a lot of the things going on in D.C. You'll enjoy that, too. Folks, thank you so much for being a part of this podcast, and until we sail into port again, take care, and we'll see you then.
This podcast is brought to you by Coke, Am First, Buffalo Wild Wings, Southern Immediate Care, Ann's Quilts, Guaranteed Labels, Central State Bank, and Sunrise Docks.
Here's what you'll find on the latest episode of Bubba on the Lake.
On this podcast, Bubba on the Lake, astrophysicist Dr. Travis Taylor. You know him from Skinwalker Ranch.
First thing is, when we got out there, we found all sorts of signals that shouldn't be there and can't figure out where they're coming from.
Talk to us a little bit about these orbs that you see going in and out of the mesa.
So on the east end of the property, bluish-white orb, we'd say it's anywhere from the size of a basketball to 5 or 6 feet in diameter. And it comes out of the sky, probably several thousand feet, comes down, and looks like it crashes into the side of the mesa. Some trans-medium phenomenon that flew from the sky and then through solid rock and dirt and then back out underneath the helicopter.
You know, I love the fact, when in doubt, you'll shoot a rocket at it.
Rockets are pretty cheap compared to helicopters.
The Bubba on the Lake podcast. Download episodes now at BubbaOnTheLake.com.